Okay, I want to do this video live because I think it's the best way to show you the testing, and it should give you an idea of whether or not it's worth it. To give you some background, the Apex Pro keyboard can adjust actuation of the Switch. The question is this actually an advantage in game? Starting with a first-person shooter, and shout out to NVC who showed me this test. He's a fellow Quake player who also does some reviews, link in the description. So I'll zoom in a second so you can actually see the crosshair. What I'm going to do is just press the key as quickly as possible. I'm not going to get it right at all times, but I'll keep on trying until I get the lowest movement. So we're trying to get the smallest strafe possible. So it goes from there. You see the lighter you touch it. There, that's a pretty good result. But I'll zoom in now and I'll change the actuation point, and we're going to see which one is best for this test. Starting at actuation 1. So let's just do this test. You're going to hear the key press. You won't actually see it on camera, but you'll hear it. It's a pretty small key press. Now I'm tapping this as lightly as possible. And that's a very good result. I've tested a fair few keyboards like this now. That's a pretty bad result. You don't want to go with that far. That's a good result. And I'm just going to try get great result. Okay, that was a great result, but yeah. So that's what you'd want. It's almost impossible to do that in game though. You'll be pressing the key in too far. So this is a really sensitive touch. The actuation point is really high. So as soon as you tap the key, that's going to activate. Now we're going to go down to 5. So the key should be activating halfway down, or the switch should be. Okay, let's try that test again. That's too big a press. That's a better one. See that? It's much easier to get those tiny, messed up, tiny movements. There you go. So that's extremely small, definitely easy to do now that the actuation point is lower. Which is better in game? I'll get to that in a moment. Let's test the next level. We're going to go right down to 10. So that being the lowest, meaning when I press this, I have to go all the way down for it to register. It's here, I'm hitting that. It is not registering. I have to actually go further down. And look at that, tiny. And see that, one of those key presses didn't even register at all. And that's something I'm finding when you actually put this down to 10, so you have to bottom out the key completely. Sometimes the keys just don't register. I'll be trying to type a capital letter and shift just won't be registering. Even though I'm holding it down, or I think I'm holding it down, I'm actually not, because I'm right on the edge. It's not going down far enough. Let me show you that. Now I've made it dark so you can actually see the light change. You see when it activates, it'll go white. If you hold it down, it only flashes once, so we won't be able to see that. But you notice, there it goes, all the way down before it activates. So if I'm just having my pinky on the side there like that, sometimes it'll feel like it's pressed down, but it won't actually be down, so I won't be typing capitals. So I would not recommend having it down at 10. Even if it looks like a huge advantage in game because you can stop immediately, it's not good. Ignore the birds in the background. Okay, now to check the delay at each setting, the right control key is set to left click, the left arrow is set to right click, and I used a matchbox to press them at the same time. At the highest setting, it was almost 6 milliseconds faster. That means the actuation point is set to so high up on the control, it's activating much sooner than the left arrow. It's not that the switch is faster, it's just the actuation point being hit sooner. The problem with this is, of course, you might accidentally press the key in and it will activate. Next setting at level 3, it gives you some depth before the key is activated, and it's about 4 milliseconds faster. Level 5 is about 3 milliseconds faster, and level 8 the keys are about the same. It's about 1 millisecond difference. Level 10 is when the left arrow becomes faster by about 2 or 3 milliseconds. So even though level 10 seems like an advantage in game because it can stop strafing faster, it's a disadvantage in how long it takes to press the key, so how long it takes you to start strafing in the first place. Because the actuation point is right down the bottom, meaning you have to bottom out the key just to get it to activate. If you're playing something like League of Legends, it's a disadvantage in how long it takes to press the key, because the actuation point is right down the bottom. Because it's not about how fast you can stop, it's how well you can time using your abilities. So the faster the actuation, the better. Which means having this really high up could be good. But be careful, because if you have it too high, you might accidentally use your ult. In League, I think it's best to set to level 3. And in CSGO, well, I'm not very good at CSGO, so someone will have to test this. But as far as I can tell, it's not going to be an actual advantage, and you can probably set it to level 8 and do fine. Here's the thing though, these are full sized. You could just get a low profile keyboard, like the Logitech G915, and then get the best of both worlds. Full size switches set to low actuation might be good in first person shooters, but it's bad in League because you have to press the key too far down to get it to actuate. But if you have a low profile keyboard, the actuation point is high, and the key press is low. And that's my conclusion. Even if this was going to be an advantage in game, which I'm still not even sure it is because at its lowest it sometimes doesn't work, and at its highest you can get a lot of accidental hits, but even if it was an advantage, you could just get a low profile mechanical keyboard instead, and then get something like the perfect balance. The G915 is the keyboard I play on these days, TKL and full sized, one for each computer. The cool thing about the Apex Pro is that you can play around with the actuation to see what suits you best. Find what you like. And you can actually set each key to a different height, meaning if you want your League of Legends Ultimate to be hard to press, just set that key down to low actuation. But if you want your abilities to activate immediately, then set them to high. It's good to see new ideas in the gaming industry, but at this point this might be a bit of a gimmick. It could be useful to some, I don't want to judge it, and it is a nice keyboard overall. And it has this very useful little screen which clearly increased my kill count by 10 over the space of 2 months. And got me many dates with women who were so impressed I had such a useful screen on my keyboard. Definitely of really high usefulness. Big thanks to SteelSeries for setting out this very useful screen for testing though. Usual links in the description if you want to help support what I do. Subscribe, like and share this video, and I'll catch you in the next.
Impressive. Last standing. Blue wins the round. Accuracy.